room. Okay, what do President Obama and Sarah Palin have in common? Well, they're both going to be in Iowa today. The president will talk about the economy in Bettendorf this afternoon, and then tonight in Pella, Sarah Palin will continue to fuel 2012 speculation when she attends the premiere of her documentary. Let's bring in roll call's Emily Heil and Politico's Casey Hunt. Good morning to both of you. So, Emily, it's the president's first Iowa trip since he announced his re-election campaign. He's talking jobs, but, I mean, the unemployment rate there is just 6%. He easily won the state in 2008. So is he just going there to rain on Palin's parade, or is this in play for 2012?
I think one of the things he's going to be doing is to sort of preemptively, discredit some of the criticism that Iowans are going to be hearing about him. Between now and when the Iowa caucuses happen, about 7 months from now, there's going to be a parade of GOP presidential contenders who are going to be saying terrible things about President Obama, because that's the one thing they all have in common, is that they want to defeat the president. So they're going to be hearing a lot of negatives about Obama. So I think one thing he's going to be doing today is to try to get into the state and get before those voters and sort of put a positive spin on himself, and then let the GOP contenders do what they will.
Yeah, launching a bit of a preemptive strike, and a strike is going to come tonight from Sarah Palin, who's screening her documentary, Casey. She'll no doubt be asked the question, are you running? And I guess our question is she ever going to come out and answer that question?
Yeah, well, we've been watching that pretty closely, and I don't know if you took a look at the schedule for the Sarah Palin's day, but the company that made this documentary about her closed the streets starting at 4 in the morning, and all day long they're kind of keeping the media penned up in Pella, and the showing is not until late and in the evening.
So let me get this right. The showing is tonight, yes, and they started blocking things off at 4 a.m.
4 a.m. So, and if you take a look at exactly what they say about, you were talking about whether or not she'll be asked whether she'll run, it says that, we're probably not, or reporters are probably not going to be able to talk to her. It's possible she'll come out herself and do something, but they've got the whole place closed down. They say that TV cameras might be able to get some good shots of her mingling with the crowd.
Oh, I see. Yesterday, of course, also in Iowa, Michelle Bachmann's big day. She, of course, still can't escape the comparisons to Sarah Palin, and on the Today Show today, she was asked about becoming Palinized. Here's what she said. Okay, we don't have that tape, but basically what she said when she asked what was meant by that, because a leader of the Tea Party suggested that she might be Palinized, is that she thought it meant that she was going to come under intense media scrutiny. But with these kinds of questions, Emily, and of course the now infamous one over the weekend, are you a flake? Do you think she's being treated fairly? Does her campaign think she's being treated fairly?
Well, I think that's a very tough question, and I think that she is probably not going to squeal unfair. That's a tough line, I think, for female candidates. You don't want to complain about the bias, even if it exists, because that makes you look like a victim. And I think that's a trap that many female candidates have to dance around. So that's going to be a tough one. But I think that, that tendency that she has to put her foot in her mouth, that is a legitimate question that she needs to answer and deal with. Perhaps calling her a flake might not have been the way to do it, but nevertheless, you can't marginalize that criticism just by saying that it's some sort of form of sexism.
Yeah, I guess one of the things that would raise the question of whether or not she's being treated fairly, Casey, is, let's use an example. Yesterday, she misstated where John Wayne was from. She might maybe be given a pass if she hadn't said a dozen or more times in her speech about being from Iowa and knowing Iowa and her roots are in Iowa, and then she misstates that. But is it being overblown, or are these the kinds of things, however small they may seem one by one, that in aggregate could really hurt her?
Well, I think you hit on the point. Essentially, if she's going to try to run as the hometown gal, she needs to make sure that she has the hometown facts straight. If it was something that she couldn't have been expected to know, then maybe not. But you were mentioning whether or not she's going to get Palinized, and I think just looking at how she handled that incident, she did come out today and said, I misspoke. Of course I misspoke. That happens. I'm not perfect. It doesn't mean I'm not a serious candidate. Palin handled a similar incident when she confused some of the details about Paul Revere. Instead of just saying, hey, you know, I screwed up the details, I stumbled over my words, it doesn't mean I don't know the story, she came out on TV and just said, you know, it's just the media blowing it out. Like, I didn't misspeak, I didn't do anything wrong. So I think you're already starting to see them handling tough situations differently.
Yeah, that is a fascinating point. Casey Hunt, thank you. Emily, good to see you as well.